Hey, Motorman here, and today we're going to talk about braking in a curve. Get into a turn, you're going a little bit too fast. What do you do now? Do you run off the road? Do you know how to use your brakes in that situation? But that's what we're going to talk about today. So come on, we'll take a ride. All right, so braking in a curve. A lot of people have a problem with this. Now, on big sweepers like I just came through here, it's not a problem. The problem arises especially if you're going around a blind curve or a decreasing radius turn. In fact, those are the type of curves where people just run off the road. Not always. Some of them you just say, you know, that was an easy turn. I can't imagine what happened. But here's the way to do this, and to do it the safest way possible. Keep a couple of fingers on that front brake. So you're coming around the curve, all of a sudden the curve starts decreasing. You put about 2 to 3% of pressure on that front brake, or you could use rear brake as well, or even both brakes, but using just the front brake is going to have the front end dip down and give you more traction. Now we're coming up on this road. If I'm going too fast, or I think I'm leaning the bike too much, I just put 2% even on the brake. Now if you're going at a nice leisurely pace, you may not have to use the brake at all, but having your finger there or 2 fingers on that front brake, if something were to jump out in front of you, your tendency to snatch or grab that front brake will be much less if you're already slightly on the brake. When I say slightly, maybe 0.5% or 1%. You can brake when the bike is leaning over. What you can't do is snatch or grab that brake. That's when the problems happen. So I'm going to go into this turn. I'm about 4% probably. Now I'm at a speed where I'm very comfortable with the lean angle. And I could trail off the brake. Trailing on the brake, trailing off the brake. The higher your speed, the bigger your radius. If you want to reduce your radius, well, you just got to slow down. Sometimes just getting off the throttle, that'll slow you down enough. But if it's not enough, then you're going to need a little brake. Like I said, you just don't want to stomp on that rear brake or jam on that front brake. You just want to squeeze nice and easy. And if your finger's already on the brake, it's so much easier. Now you could go your whole life with, as what's been taught for many years and was even taught to me in motor school, to go into the turn slow, do all your braking before the curve, and then roll on the throttle slightly through the curve. You can go your whole life doing just that and not having a problem. But if you have a fear of leaning your motorcycle too far, and I see that a lot in my classes, motorcycle gets to a certain point, the person straightens up the motorcycle, and this is, you know, during my low speed course, so you're going 10 miles an hour, the bike starts to lean, they think it's leaning too far, they'll straighten up the handlebars. Well, when you do that, your turning radius gets bigger, and you're going to run right off the curve. On the brake just a bit. When the motorcycle is going in the direction you want it to go, which in this case is straight ahead, you can get off the brake. But I always cover the brakes, especially when you're on a road that's not familiar to you. You may not know what's coming up. Use that front brake or the rear brake, like I said, or even both of them. But you'd really have to be going pretty fast or riding really hot to have to use both brakes. A little bit of pressure on the brake. I'm comfortable with my lean angle. I can even accelerate a bit before the road straightens out. You don't want to accelerate hard while you're still on the curb. You don't want to do anything harsh or quick, because that's when you run into problems. Everything's got to be smooth. Coming around this curve, I accelerate a little bit as I get to the curve. I got just this slight bit of pressure on the rear brake, on the front brake, excuse me. And I'd be ready for anything any surprises. A dog running out, a deer running out in front of me. Cover that brake. It is a lifesaver. And it's an easy thing to practice squeezing that brake. You could do it sitting on your bike in your driveway. You don't want to use throttle and brake, so when you're rolling off the throttle and giving a little bit of brake, you could practice that. The bike is not even moving. And if you think that's a stupid thing to practice, well, you ought to try it sometime, because I see a lot of times where people are using that front brake in a curve. The revs, the bike is still revving up, and they're using two forces against each other. It's the wrong thing to do. Big swerve like this, curve, my fingers are just resting on that brake. They're not putting any pressure at all. The problem arises when you get in over your head, over your skill level. You think you're leaning the motorcycle too much. That's when you're going to need the trail on that brake until you're comfortable with your radius and the speed that you're going. Easy stuff, but like they say, common sense isn't very common. And if you like to ride the twisties, you live up in the mountains and it's something you do all the time, you should put that in your bag of tricks, trailing on and trailing off that front brake. Now, even in this set of curves or big sweepers, whatever you want to call it, so I'm coming in, I'm at a pace where I don't know, I know that I don't need any brake at all, because I'm nowhere near the bike's lean limits. But I still got two fingers over that front brake just in case. I don't know about you, but I don't like surprises when I'm riding. And the last thing I want to do is be surprised as I come around a curve. Kind of a blind curve here. I'm on the brake 2%, 3%, trailing off the brake. I hope you enjoyed this. I want to thank you for watching. And if you didn't like this video, well, I got 1,257 other videos on YouTube, many with life-saving techniques. I know that because people email me all the time and tell me how they hear my voice in their head and I've saved their lives. I probably should have charged them more, but I didn't. So please subscribe, give me a thumbs up.